You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast. And hey, what are we talking about right now? We're talking about how do you close more sales? Because I'll tell you what, you can close more sales, but you got to avoid these mistakes in today's economy. And guess what? You can control every one of them. Hey, the show begins right now.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a salesman sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
Hey, this is the Sales Hunter podcast and is brought to you by Fist Bump. I got a special offer to you. I'm going to offer to you from Fist Bump. Stay tuned. I'll share it with you a little bit later on. But hey, how do you close more sales right now? Because there's 4 mistakes salespeople are making in today's economy. Let's go through them. Number 1, you're really failing to uncover priorities the customer has that are keeping their attention focused elsewhere. You see, here's what's happening. You may have a great solution. You may have a great answer for the problems, but if they've got bigger problems, that's what they're going to deal with first. Customers in today's environment are only dealing with their top 1 or 2 priorities. I see this all the time in my own business. Yes. You see, here's the whole thing. It's a busy, crazy world out there. The economy is doing all kinds of things. There's opportunities, but you got to frame it as to how your solution is going to help them solve their top number 1 or number 2 priorities. If in your conversations, you are not able to verify that what you have is going to help them achieve one of their top 2 priorities, guess what? You're probably not going to get the answer you want. They're going to defer you to later on. This is absolutely imperative. How do you find that out? You find that out by simply asking, hey, what are the big issues you're dealing with as a company? I love asking this early on in the prospecting phase because customers are relaxed. They're going to share with you. I'm listening for how I can either make sure that my solution is part of, is the number 1 or number 2, or is going to help them solve their number 1 or number 2 priorities. Number 2, it's the lack of perceived value by the customer. You see, here's the whole thing. You may say that you create a lot of value for your customers, and that's fine. That's great. But it doesn't matter what you say, what the customer believes. It's what the customer believes. And things that you place value in, they may not place value in. And this comes back and it picks up on that first one I talked about. But it's absolutely key. The lack of perceived value by the customer. You got to keep playing back to them. How do you see this fitting into your company? How is this going to help you achieve X? How is this going to help you do what? How is this going to help you satisfy better your customers? Whatever it might be, but you've got to be asking them questions because you've got to be able to verify that the value you're putting on the table, the value you're creating for them is value that they perceive that has merit. Otherwise, they're just going to say, forget it. I'm going to pass. Number 3 is the sales proposal you're putting on the table has merit, but it's not enough for the customer to risk making a decision to move forward. This is really key because here's the thing. If I'm asking them to convert, if I'm asking them to change suppliers, if I'm asking them to do something different, I have to overcome this whole conversion piece. I have to ask them that change is worthwhile. This is absolutely critical and a major problem that so many salespeople can't get past because you may have a good solution. It may fit. It may even help them solve their number 1 or number 2 priorities. Remember, I was talking about that earlier. But if it isn't worth the risk of helping them, make the change, if making the change is too difficult for them. So you are going to have to ask them, how would me proposing this to you be integrated into your company? Let's walk through what that would look like. I'm listening for roadblocks. I'm listening for obstacles. And then what I've got to do is I've got to find ways to minimize those. I've got to find ways to take those out because that's, again, absolutely key. Because again, in this economy that we're in, customers are hesitant to make that move unless they're absolutely sure. So if they're right on the fence, and they got to convert and it's going to, forget it. It may be even a real benefit, but the benefit isn't big enough big enough, remember we talked about this earlier, then they're not going to make the move. Hey, and the fourth one that I want to talk about in today's economy is that the customer you're speaking to, the individual person, just lacks authority. They may have had authority when you called on them a year or two ago. They may have had authority even 6 months ago, but today, because of the economy, because the changes going on, they lack buying authority. And they may be a little bit hesitant to tell you that they lack authority. Right. They may be hesitant because, they don't like saying that they can't authorize the buy when 6 months ago they could. So I've got to be upfront. Hey, how have changes in your business impacted how you buy things, how you make purchases? You want to ask, again, this question very early on. Why? Because I got to find out. Because again, if I'm not dealing with the decision maker, with the person who can buy, I've got to reposition myself. Now, I may still want to have that relationship with them because they may be the user. The user is absolutely critical. But if they're not a decision maker, I got to know that there's going to be another person involved. Hey, I've just gone through with you 4 things that are going to help you close more sales in today's economy. Hey, I told you I had a special offer from Fist Bump. What is Fist Bump? Hey, if you're struggling to get customers who are excited about talking with you or your sales team, I want you to check out Fist Bump because they help companies increase pipeline and support their prospecting activities with a proven personal brand program for C-suite and sales leaders. This is why I love Fist Bump. Hey, go to fistbumps.com, fistbumps.com/the sales hunter. Set up a time to talk with my friend Brandon or one of the people on his team, and they're going to show you how the whole system works. And oh, by the way, when you go to that, you're going to get 1 month free. I can't recommend these people enough because they're going to help you, C-suite leaders, senior leaders, break through. Hey, my name is Mark Hunter. You've been listening to the Sales Hunter podcast. What is it? 2 episodes a week. One a short one like this. Second one, longer, where we do a deep dive with a subject matter expert. One goal, to help you see and achieve what you didn't think was possible. Hey, would you leave me a review? Leave me a review on your favorite podcast app, would you? Because really, it's how the world finds out about the Sales Hunter podcast. Great selling.